Hey guys, Ollie here from the Roland UK Academy, and here's 5 tips to help you with your colour matching in under 5 minutes. My first colour matching tip is to ensure that the colour you're trying to achieve and the swatches or the printouts that you have are side by side. If you keep these with any sort of distance between the two of them, it's very hard to memorise the colour and then look and check whether you're achieving that colour accurately. I'm going to jump into an Illustrator file now that helps exemplify this. To help you understand the concept of memorising colour, I want you to firstly look at this block of colour here with the question mark on and try and save that into your memory. I'm then going to turn this colour block off and turn on a block of 4 colours here, and I want you to try and guess which of these 4 blocks of colour that one is. I'll give you a couple of moments to do that. If you guess 3, then the answer is correct, but hopefully this showcases just how hard it can be. My second colour matching tip is light. So light drastically alters the appearance of your colours dependent on its intensity. And at different times of day, the light will look different. Interior light looks different to exterior. So as a top tip, it's really important to try and ensure that you're checking your colours in the same conditions in which your end product will be viewed. If you're doing a vehicle wrap, for example, take your print outside and double check it. If you're doing an internal wall graphic, then try and check it under some of those intense office lights, and that will give you a good idea as to whether you've got a match that you're looking for. My third colour matching tip is to be aware of something called simultaneous contrast. This means that if you're trying to compare 2 colours but you have others around the outside, your eye can be distracted by them. And this illusion that I've got loaded up on the screen here is a prime example of this. So A and B, those colours look completely different at the moment. However, if I take a square and just draw that through the middle here, all of a sudden A and B become the same. And this is because we've removed the highlights and shadows that sit in the middle. So if I now delete this, it goes back to looking as if it's 2 separate colours. So the key tip here is don't trust your eye too much when there's other colours going on, because it will be dragged in different directions. My fourth colour matching tip is try to come back to things with a fresh set of eyes. So the more we stare at something, the more our eyes start to get depleted and start to send incorrect signals to the brain. It's why challenges like Where's Wally, for example, like I've got on my screen here, can become increasingly more challenging the more that you stare. So if you're starting to struggle with matching 2 colours, take a break, come back to it with fresh eyes, and hopefully you'll have a better shot second time round. My fifth and final colour matching tip is to use the Roland Colour Systems library. This is printable via VersaWorks and is a great tool when looking to find an accurate match to a colour. The colours that will be printed aren't all of the colours that your printer can produce, but it's a good representation of them. This can be a great tool when you're trying to swap a Pantone for something more accurate that your printer can produce, for example, or just in any other scenario where you need to provide a colour match. I'll now show you how to print that off in VersaWorks. Printing the Roland Colour Systems library from VersaWorks can be as simple as clicking Media and then clicking Colour Chart Type 1 here. This will then print off all of the colours in the Colour Systems library using the settings that you've got in your queue A, if that's the queue that you've got selected at the moment. And you can see here that it says the following job will be printed. Do you want to continue? So before we do that, I'm just going to click cancel, because an important point to remember here is that if we want to gain an accurate colour match, the colour chart needs to be printed using the same quality settings and all the other settings that you would usually use, in order to ensure that when you go to print afterwards, you're matching back within those same settings parameters. So I jump into my QA. And the particularly important parts here are in the quality tab. So I would use the same media profile that I'm going to be using, for example, the same quality setting in here that I'm going to be using for my jobs in the future, and the same number of passes. And the color management part down at the bottom, however, would be ignored. So color management doesn't apply when it comes to printing spot colors. So that bit you don't need to worry about as much. So if I was to now click OK and save these settings, go back to here, click my colour chart type 1. Now this is going to be my basis for an accurate match. In order to then use the colours and design with them, you just need to open up Illustrator or Corel, open the Roland Colour Systems library, and in here, everything that's featured within the chart has a kind of code attached to it. So if you use the same colour code when you design, regardless of what that looks like on your screen, when you come to print it, it will look the same as the printout that you've produced from here.